Shazam! Fury of the Gods is DC's latest superhero movie, and it's a superhero movie. It's harmless and has some moments that are fun and emotional, but there's too many characters with nothing to do, poor writing, forgettable villains, and action scenes that look more like a video game cutscene. It ticks all the superhero movie boxes, but that's about it. It doesn't really distinguish itself from other comic book movies, which these days is something you kinda have to do to stand out from the pack. I've said this about other recent comic book movies like Black Adam and Quantumania, but if these films were made in 2011, they would have been received really well. But nowadays, it seems to only be films that do something risky and unique like No Way Home that end up succeeding, as far as comic book movies go. Speaking of No Way Home, the marketing team did an amazing job at promoting the movie without giving away any of its major secrets. Warner Brothers, however, gave away a major cameo in one of their TV spots, to the point where the film's director and star went to Twitter and told fans not to watch any ads. The trailers in general seem to give away pretty much all of the major action scenes in the movie, and the cherry on top was spoiling the cameo, which was honestly the best part of the movie for me. I'll get into that during my spoiler section. Fury of the Gods begins with the Daughters of Atlas stealing the magic staff from the first movie. The daughters, Hespera and Calypso, are played by the legendary Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu. But for as great as these actresses are, their performances in this movie fall a little flat in my opinion. Neither character's personality seems particularly distinguishable from the other. I had especially been looking forward to seeing Lucy Liu step back in the villain role, especially because O-Ren Ishii from Kill Bill is one of my favorite antagonists of all time. But Calypso ended up being a pretty forgettable character in my opinion. I don't think this is necessarily Mirren or Liu's fault, as they clearly know how to turn in an incredible acting performance, but I just don't think the script gave them much to work with here. As for the heroes, the actors all do fine. I like Zachary Levi, and he earnestly delivers his Gen Z dialogue with good comedic timing. I also like his siblings, and while they were all fleshed out a little bit more in this movie, I still don't think they were given enough to do. The ending of the first Shazam teased the idea of this family of superheroes, and we get some of that in this movie, especially with a great bridge rescue scene at the beginning. But then, the siblings aren't able to use their powers for a good chunk of the movie, and most of it focuses back onto Billy and Freddy. It almost felt like The Incredibles 2, where we were promised a superhero family team in the first film, only to have the second one put the focus back on just one character. Speaking of Freddy, I enjoyed Jack Dylan Grazer's performance. He's a good young actor who made his mark in It about 6 years ago. While his character Freddy sometimes gets a little annoying with the incessant talking, I definitely buy him as a nerdy teenager who geeks out about getting to be a superhero. He has the most realistic reaction to becoming a superhero, considering that some of the other siblings almost seem nonchalant about it. Billy's character arc mainly centers around him trying to be a wise leader despite how anxious it sometimes makes him. He's also worried about being kicked out of his foster home since he's turning 18 soon. These are really good and logical character traits that I think should have been explored more. They're brought up in Act 1 and not really addressed again until the end of the movie. As for the action scenes, like I said, they feel kind of like video game cutscenes. There's nothing particularly bad about them, but they also don't bring anything new to the table. The last major critique I have is the writing. There are so many exposition dumps about the Daughters of Atlas and Realm of the Gods that went by too quickly for me to absorb. It was a lot of information at once and got a little boring at times. There's a magic staff and a golden apple that both act as MacGuffins, and multiple instances where Billy does something stupid, allowing the villains to get the upper hand. Yes, I realize he's a teenager, and teenagers sometimes make dumb decisions, but blatant stuff like leaving a magic staff on the ground for anyone to pick up, or gloating about defeating a villain before making sure they're incapacitated, ended up leading to many civilian deaths, and that makes it a little harder to root for your main hero. Oh, and Jaimin Hansu's also in this movie. If it feels like I tacked that on last minute, it's because the movie did too. He really doesn't have all that much to do in this one. He's there, but doesn't really make any of the major decisions that drive the plot forward. Just another underutilization of a great actor. Overall, despite its fun moments and Zachary Levi's likability, Fury of the Gods fell flat for me. For anyone who really enjoys comic book movies, I think there's some enjoyment to be had, but My final recommendation is to wait and stream this one. Now, on to my spoiler section. I don't want to be like Warner Brothers and give away any secrets, so here's my official warning. Spoilers in 3, 2, 1. Alright. Gal Gadot shows up as Wonder Woman. It was a running joke throughout the movie where Billy dreams about her and wants to get in touch with her. He gets some flack from the other characters about this, but come on, let's face it. A 17-year-old guy wanting to meet Wonder Woman, that's completely realistic. It made sense that the daughter of Zeus would show up, given the fact that this movie deals with gods, goddesses, and Greek mythology. But what didn't make sense to me is why she didn't show up sooner. The only role Wonder Woman plays is after the final battle, where she helps bring Billy back to life. But the whole story involved the connection of worlds between humans and gods. The magic staff getting stolen was on the news, so there's reason to believe that she should have been able to see that. I find it hard to believe that Wonder Woman of all characters wouldn't have gotten involved here. It would be like if the characters went to Atlantis, but Aquaman didn't show up until the very end. There's also a couple of twists regarding the Sisters of Atlas. One involves Rachel Zegler, Freddy's love interest, who also happens to be the third sister. Even though she helps her sisters out at first, it was pretty clear that she would help our heroes out in the end. The other twist was Lucy Liu betraying Helen Mirren. Mirren was initially the main villain, but Liu takes over that role in the third act. There's no real lead up to this, and I just didn't buy Mirren's redemption arc. Her character didn't have any real development, and quickly went from killing thousands of humans to suddenly trying to protect them. And then we have the unicorns. The unicorns are set up as these horrifying and dangerous creatures, but the little girl tames them by feeding them Skittles. I can't even make up this level of product placement. That was well done. Well done, Skittles. She even rides into battle on a unicorn and yells, "Taste the rainbow, mother effer." This movie really went and borrowed a meme from the Nostalgia Critic. The last thing I'll mention are the post-credit scenes. One of them involves people trying to recruit Shazam for the Justice Society, leading to jokes about how the name is too close to Justice League. He even suggests Avenger Society as a name, which, yeah, okay, that got a laugh out of me. The second scene brings us Mr. Mind and Mark Strong in prison yet again. Strong had been waiting in prison for 2 years for Mr. Mind to return, but because he's a worm, he moves really slowly, and yeah, that was also kind of funny. With James Gunn at the helm at DC, it's hard to tell what the future holds for Shazam. Gunn was a bit vague in his video announcement about what role Shazam plays in the new universe, but he didn't rule anything out. We'll just have to wait and see. Comment below what you thought of Shazam: Fury of the Gods. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy my content. Thanks for watching, and I hope y'all have a good one.